Welcome back to the Winnin' In Podcast. I'm your host, Max P., and I'm joined today by my good friend, Evan, otherwise known as FreedomWaffle. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing great. Powering through. Glad to be here.
You got a little temporary setup going on, but it looks good to me, man. Looks
yeah,
good.
We're in temporary housing between leases, and so here we are. Life's a little hectic right now, but life is good.
Yeah. So before I kick things off, just a couple housekeeping items I want to make sure I put out there. First is, in just a month now, the Steel City Spectacular is coming.
Yes.
That includes the Open, the 20K cEDH.
Oh, yeah.
Up to 500 players. It's going to be insane. Plus, they got legacy events, they got vintage events, they got everything that whole weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be an
nuts.
Awesome event. It's 4 days of just like every format, and the prizes are crazy. Like in all of them, there's like an altered Chaos Orb. There's a Black Lotus. Like that's crazy. Along with a 15K tournament and a 20K tournament for cEDH. Like this is going to be the biggest cEDH focused event of all time, and there's amazing other tournaments for other formats. So I'm incredibly stoked. I cannot wait.
I'm playing Legacy on Friday. I mean,
dude.
I'm playing cEDH on Saturday. It's going to be insane.
I need to borrow a Legacy deck and join you.
Yeah, I think there's going to be enough. There'll be people around with the Legacy deck.
Yeah, but you can't just load it out to anybody. Is it proxy friendly? I forget.
Yeah.
Is it fully? Okay, yeah. I'll print one. I'm ordering a Legacy deck. I'll see you there.
Yeah, I've got one ready. I'm ready to go. Let's go. I've played Legacy maybe 10 times ever, but I don't care. I'm still going to play.
Dude, I love it. I'll definitely get some photos of you in action.
Hell yeah. Oh, and another thing. So I'm putting it out there. So if you haven't registered yet for the 20K, and you do now, and you send me a DM that shows that you registered, I'm doing a giveaway-ish where basically I'm going to pick someone to come on the podcast.
That's so cool.
If you go register for the event and you want to be on the podcast, just tell me. And while we're in Pittsburgh, we'll get together, we'll have lunch, and we'll sort of talk through what an episode would be. And then you can record it with me, and you'll be on and you
can tell everyone how much you hate or love Tim Necrom.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. That's coming. That's coming. That's coming. And then one other thing, just to put it out there, I'm partnered up with Critical EDH right now. So if you join my Patreon for any tier, it doesn't even matter, as long as it's some dollar amount there. I think it's like $3 or something. You get to be in the Critical EDH League.
Nice.
So come and I'm going to be playing on there a lot this month. So come play with me, man. Should be fun.
Max is the best. You need to learn from him.
Yeah, learn from me.
It's true.
Yeah.
Wait, why are you giving that face? You know it's true.
Well, apparently I'm completely crazy because there's been a lot of discourse on Twitter the last
there has
couple of days that I find very interesting. Twitter's hilarious. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, sorry X. Sorry Elon. Sorry dude.
Sorry Gronk.
Sorry. Yeah. So someone put out there, I think it was from Lamora's Cards. And Datadog put out some statistics from tournament plays over the last forever. I mean, I guess it's just forever, right? It's not like recently and then forever.
Yeah, I think he did both. I haven't caught up. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So it basically what it showed was just how great Tim Necrom is, and how Tim Necrom is just dominant and. Yeah, it's good. It's real good. And, the question that he posed, and really it's kind of the question that I think everybody who plays cEDH at some point has asked themselves, which is basically, am I stupid for not playing Blue Farm? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is like, you think about, if I'm going to an event, does it make sense for me to play anything other than Blue Farm? Right? And Matt kind of puts it out there and says, basically, you really should be playing Blue Farm. If you want to increase your win rate and do better, you really should be on Blue Farm. And I looked at it and I thought about it a lot for a while, and I'm like, I don't think that that's actually true. Regardless of what the statistics say about averages and overall tournament play, like the first person I thought of was, there's this guy who's like second ranked in terms of ELO, and he doesn't even play Blue Farm. Like Freedom something.
Hey, I've played a lot of Blue Farm, Max. Let's be real.
You have. You played a lot.
But no, I fully agree with you. I agree with your point, 100%.
Yeah, and I immediately I'm like, hey, is Blue Farm better than Kinnan? You're like,
that's why you asked me that. I see now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Exactly. So I tweeted out. I said, hey, I think it's okay to not play Blue Farm. And I don't think you're doing yourself any disservice by doing that. And I think that actually your win rate will go up much faster just by getting reps and getting better as a player than switching decks to Blue Farm. At which point Twitter exploded, and there's a lot of interesting takes.
The Twitter nightmare, yes.
That went on immediately after that, but it's an interesting conversation. So I'll put it to you first. What your thoughts? Like, what do you think about that whole concept, and where do you stand on it?
Yeah, so I think there's always going to be a best deck, pretty much, right? In every format. I think this conversation really does require you to look at some other formats and see how other formats operate as far as the meta. And in cEDH, Blue Farm has been the best deck for a long time. And I think a difference that people are calling out, like Datatog, is that Blue Farm has been the best deck in cEDH for longer than any other deck, I think, in other formats, right? Like other formats have had more shifts, and they've had like an active ban list, which is why this has changed, right? And so, right now in Legacy, like Oops All Spells is insane, but it hasn't been forever, right? It used to be Blue-Black Reanimator, I'm not that involved in the Legacy format, so please don't correct me, or actually correct me, in the comments. More engagement.
It's still. I literally just looked at it. It's still Dimir Reanimator, at least according to like MTG top 8 is where I'm looking. And it's still like 20% of the meta as of the last couple of months. So right. I don't think it's gone anywhere.
Right, exactly. And so, these decks are always going to be above and beyond. And so in the format, in cEDH, I would argue that we need to understand when a deck is a problem, isn't necessarily that there's a best deck. It's how dominant that deck is in the format. And so for me, yes, I think Blue Farm has been the best deck for a long time and still is, but I don't think you're objectively wrong for not playing Blue Farm for multiple reasons. Like, you can still win and win a lot with other decks. I've been playing Kinnan, and honestly, I feel like Kinnan is just insanely powerful right now. And I played a lot of Blue Farm in the past, but I've been winning more on Kinnan than Blue Farm, right? So, I know this is anecdotal, but my personal experience says that maybe I shouldn't be playing Blue Farm. Maybe Kinnan is a better deck. And I know the meta doesn't quite reflect that. The stats don't reflect that, but that has been my experience. And so your experience isn't always going to be exactly matching statistics, right? There's a lot of factors at play here. And some of the factors are that you are not playing the best deck, so you are not necessarily going to be targeted like you're playing the best deck. That's always going to be a thing. In a 4-player game, True. It is True. Not like 1v1 where just because you're playing a better deck, you'll always win unless something goes crazy wrong. There's always going to be like politics and whatnot. And if you get too far ahead, people will put you behind. And, Blue Farm is a little more immune to that, of course, but still going to people will target you. They might counter your Ristic Study when they shouldn't or whatever because you are playing Blue Farm. So there's just it's just not that simple. And Brewer's advantage is still a thing. Sometimes people just don't understand how cards work. That's always going to be the case. And at the end of the day, I think your personal win rate in multiple decks might not differ as much as you think. Right. And so maybe playing Blue Farm versus playing Ral or playing Kinnan or playing Rogsai or playing Rogthras, maybe that's only a 5% difference once you get a bunch of games in. And maybe you're more comfortable on Rogthras or whatever. And so you'll win more games because of that. Right. And so I think there's just because you're not playing the best deck doesn't mean you can't compete. We see just because Blue Farm's winning more than other decks doesn't mean other decks aren't winning. They're consistently winning. Blue Farm is not winning every tournament. That is not the case, or even close to the case. And so I think that saying it's objectively wrong to not play Blue Farm feels really weird to me.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing, I have a bit of a theory that I've been working in terms of this, and that's really comes down to floors and ceilings, right? I think Blue Farm has a really high floor. It has the highest floor of any deck in the format. That's what I think.
This is why I suggest it to new players all the time.
Right. So your mistakes are going to cost you less when you're playing Blue Farm. So if you're an average player or below average player, you're new, you're just getting used to the game, Blue Farm is much more forgiving than a lot of decks, and you're going to have an initially higher win rate. However, the ceiling of Blue Farm isn't drastically different than a lot of decks in the format, including, for example, Kinnan, where if you play Kinnan to the utmost, you're politicking well, you're threat assessing well, you're doing everything right. The ceiling of Kinnan and the ceiling of Blue Farm are very close.
Yeah.
Very close. You could even argue that Kinnon's more or better, and I would do the same thing with
I don't know.
the deck I play a lot, TNT, or Rog Thrash. There's a lot of decks that have a ceiling that's very, very high and at the same level or even higher than Blue Farm. So what happens is as your skill level goes up as a player, that floor matters less and less, right? And so you're able to close the gap,
So, and this is where I would like to see what the stats on decks are exclusively for, like, let's say the top 200 players on the ELO leaderboard, right? Like, I'm curious, when players are piloting these decks to the best of their ability, which decks are still performing and outperforming others? Because I think that's exactly right. Like, if a new player picks up both of these decks, and I firmly believe if a new player picks up Kinnon, they're way more likely to lose than if they pick up Blue Farm. That's going to skew the stats drastically. I saw a lot of people saying that, because there are more people playing a deck means the win rate is lower. That's not necessarily true, because, like you said, the floor of a deck is going to affect that win rate when more people are playing it more than the number of people playing it, right? Like, so yeah, I really don't think that. I think that would be a really interesting thing to do. Data Talk, you should do that, and I want to see what that is. I don't know how I'm not sure how to do that, so that would be great to see.
I know he can do it because I've seen him do it before. So I'll reach out to him because I want to see those numbers. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then the other thing to realize here is, yes, your win rate if you're a new player will probably be a bit higher initially on Blue Farm. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the correct deck for you to play even then, because you have to enjoy this game. You have to love playing cEDH, because you're going to have to put thousands of hours into this, and you're not going to put thousands of hours into doing something you don't like doing. Period. Yep. So, playing a viable deck that you enjoy, to me, is more advantageous to playing Blue Farm if you don't like it, right? Get those reps in, be able to enjoy the game, and then that floor will matter less and less and less as you get those reps in and get better.
And
now,
again,
if you love Blue Farm,
you could still win tournaments with non-Blue Farm decks. They happen every weekend. Like, you could still win without Blue Farm. Yes.
Absolutely, all the time, and the I think that the pool of viable decks right now is deeper than it's ever been. There's so many decks right now that are winning tournaments that would never have won before. Look at Tim on Marneus.
Dude, I love Marneus.
Going on a tear.
Tim is crushing on that deck.
You got Tim Nadargo taking tournaments. I mean, I literally
Kellen.
May, June, and July. There was a Tim Nadarga deck that won a tournament in each of those months.
That's insane.
Like, these decks are succeeding. They're winning. They're doing well. You can do it. You can play something that's not Blue Farm. I swear to God.
I do want to give a counterpoint here. Not to this argument, just kind of like, I guess, let's say an adjacent point. I think just because you aren't playing Blue Farm doesn't mean you should play a bad deck and expect to win. And I think that's something that's important, because let's compare to other formats again. Let's compare to the Pro Tour, for example. Like right now, like it's been standard, now it's going to be modern. In the Pro Tour, players are there to win. They are not there to just, they're having a good time, but they're having a good time with competing, right? And there's still, this was not a very diverse metagame, but there's still a lot of different decks that showed up, right? Or multiple different archetypes. It wasn't just, in standard, it wasn't just mono red aggro and what was it, Corey. Is it Corey? I think. Whatever. I think those were the two archetypes that were like most dominant. But point being is that they're still playing a deck that they think can compete rather than just the most fun thing they can do. And in Commander, we have this identity that is like so much more apparent than other formats. We're like, I love my super niche commander, right? Like, I really want to play my mono green elf deck, and I want to push it. I just want to play this deck, and because it's my deck, I'm going to win with it, right? Yeah, first off, do that, but just don't expect to be competing at like the highest of levels when you are not playing a deck that is competitive. Like, that's all I'm saying, right? Like, I think that's where the difference to me from cEDH to tEDH falls, is when you are trying to compete to win and you are playing a deck that attacks the meta in a unique way, not just because it's your pet commander.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And cEDH in particular has this phenomenon where you do have brewers who come up with something that turns out to be a truly viable competitive
That's true
deck.
too.
It happens.
Right.
It happens.
You have to
but
recognize when it's there and when it's not. I think that's the big thing. It's like,
Right.
don't commit yourself. I mean, again, commit yourself to do this for as long as you want, as long as you're having fun and you understand that you're not just being the most top-notch competitive. Just don't just be realistic with yourself about, what your expectations are from playing a niche deck. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And it requires this self-honesty. Like, you really have to be honest with yourself. You look at the deck, you're like, I love this deck. I love this deck so much. I came up with it. It's so cool. But you got to be honest with yourself. It's like, does it really have it right now? Because it might not. It might not. And that's okay. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like,
this is where I want to plug my friends at playnicemtg.com. Because if you want to figure out if your deck is viable, track your games. Figure out how you're winning, why you're losing, and which decks are performing that you're playing. And you can do that at playnicemtg.com. Not sponsored. I just think they're amazing, and I use that all the time. So yeah, definitely check that out, because that's like a really good way to be, like you said, honest with yourself. Like, look at your stats. See if you're right. Like, hey, I feel like I'm winning all the time, or am I just remembering the games that I'm winning and not the games I'm losing, right? Like, be honest with yourself. I think, just being honest with yourself solves a lot of these issues.
Yeah, and I think the other thing people do is get married to a deck. Like, they fall in love with their deck, and they never change. They don't no matter what they face, no matter how bad it's doing, they're stuck on that deck, and it's very difficult to break out of that cycle. I mean, I know I've been in that cycle, but it's ultimately, like, you do yourself a favor by realizing that you're the winner here and not the deck.
Yes.
And you can change from deck to deck, and you'll find that even though you thought, oh my god, I can't imagine playing anything other than a Eula, Queen of the Bears, like, you find that when you change to another deck, you still enjoy it. Like, you still get a thrill out of that deck, and you can still tune it and optimize it and brew it in your own way, right? It's not it's not the end of the world switching decks.
But hey, I think if you are here to play your niche deck and that is what you enjoy doing, don't stop doing that. We're specifically talking about how to become a better player, how to win more in tournaments, how to compete. Like, there are two different sides to this, and so, like, do what you want to do. It's a game, it's Magic, it's fun.
Bro, have you seen the decks I play in LobbyCon?
I have. And you cook with it, though. You do cook with it. But it's because you're an amazing player. That's why you cook with it.
But they're fun. You should, don't stop playing jank. Don't stop playing interesting decks. Like, you never know when you, like, brew something that you think is just, hey, this is a goofy, funny deck. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? This is actually viable. This is an interesting new concept. And it goes somewhere. Like, don't ever stop brewing, in my opinion. Just keep doing it.
Some of my favorite LobbyCon decks are Pure and Toothy and Hinata Dawn Crowned. Like, am I winning? Sometimes. But that's not why I'm playing them.
Yeah, absolutely. And every deck that's a winner in the top tier, like, deck started off in someone's basement.
Yes.
Like,
except for T&K. Except for T&K. Maybe not T&K.
But even T&K had to start in someone's basement.
Yeah, but it started in a lot of people's basements at once.
Fair enough. So I was going to ask you, like, what's your like, everybody has their, like, deck journey, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was your deck journey?
That's a great question.
Where'd you start with?
Yeah, so actually I started with Marnius. That was well, okay. I mean, I don't remember exactly. No, going back, the first deck I ever played in cEDH was Rasputin Dreamweaver, the Legends Commander, the only viable Legends Commander. I still love that deck. Well, I played it all the way up to the bannings of Nadu, Dockside,
it's a Pillowfort deck, right? Isn't that a Pillowfort deck?
No, I mean, in casual, I was cooking. It's it's a deck that basically, Rasputin comes in, it gets 7 counters. It's a 4/1. You can use the counters, each counter at any time, to add a colorless mana or to prevent 1 damage that's dealt to it. So, and it costs 6. It's Azorius. So, point is that you can blink it with, like, Eldrazi Displacer or a couple other combos to make infinite colorless really, really, really easy. Or you cast it 1 turn, and next turn, all of a sudden, you have 14 mana. So it's super fun. You could just do all kinds of things. Anyways, that was the first time I got invited to a cEDH table. I played that. Then I did play Hinata. That was, like, one of the first decks I played after that. I played, I've always liked blue decks, so gonna put that out there. That's always been a thing. What did I play?
Forgive you. It's okay.
No, yeah, there's you don't have to forgive me. I played Jeska Ishai for a while, and then I picked up Marnius for a long time. There's a few decks in between, but those are the main ones I was playing. Marnius was the first deck I ever traveled to a tournament with. I went to Silicon Dynasty 1 right after, I think I top 16 Demox Masters. That was like the first time ever out of locals doing well with it. And I was like, this is so cool. I want to do more of this. So I traveled and I didn't make the cut. I almost made it, didn't quite make it. And I played one more tournament with Marnius and then didn't make the cut again. I was like, dude, I need to switch. And so I switched to Dargo Thrasios, the first Mox Masters, which Mox Masters at the time were like the tournaments that were happening. They were like pretty much, there were other things, but those were like, that was happening all the time. Big attendance as far as like 128 people, like every weekend that it was happening. Played Dargo Thras, won the first time I brought it, got first place in the tournament. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I just played it for a long time. Just tried to master that deck, optimize it. And that was the main thing. And then finally, after that, switched to Blue Farm, played that for a long time, and then switched to Kinnan. There was some Shorikai in between Kinnan, but those are the main decks that I've been playing. And, you know, you always got to like, I think I have like 13 decks proxied up right now in addition, maybe 12 in addition to
Holy
Kinnan.
crap.
So I have a lot of decks that I have got to experiment with Rock Thrash. You have to play decks, right? And yeah, back 100%. In the day, I was playing cEDH on Magic Online, where I could just play whatever deck I wanted anytime, no effort. Mm-hmm. And that was really cool to like just get a ton of reps in with a ton of decks, learn the format, and Magic Online is not great for cEDH, but it taught me to stack. It taught me a lot of things, and yeah, honestly, it was kind of cool.
I mean,
to
you learn however
figure
you
out
can.
what I like to play.
You learn however you can.
But I played,
yeah.
but to the point earlier, I played a ton of decks, like a lot. Like the decks that I mentioned are just scratching the surface on the amount of decks I actually tried and played. Like, yeah, there's so many, and so. Yeah, to your point is like, you should be switching decks. You should play multiple decks. Like, that's how you become a better player, because you need to know how to beat them. You need to know how to brew. You need to know all these things, and it's going to teach you. But it takes time, so you need to be playing a lot of games.
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah. I mean, I go every event I go to now, I play whatever deck I play, and then afterwards I'm like, is this deck still good? Is it time to switch? After every tournament, I have that internal conversation. It takes a few days. Like, I can't even just immediately after, because you're warped immediately after a tournament. But for a few days after, I'm just thinking it through. I'm like, is it time? I should bring back Florian. I always want to bring back Florian. But my deck journey, I'll tell you my deck journey real quick. So I started initially, my first cEDH, quote, cEDH deck was Estrid the Masked.
Ooh,
which
that's
was
Esper,
the
right?
enchantment.
No, it's Bant. Yeah, Bant.
Yeah, and it was the Planeswalker that just basically untaps enchanted permanents. And it also puts enchantments on permanent, so you could ramp really hard. And then the whole thing was built around Parallax Wave and Opalescence.
Oh, I love those cards. They're so cool.
It was so fun.
Parallax
fun. So
Wave
I played
was
in some events with that
for a while.
Oh yeah, I could see that. So that was my first cEDH deck, and then I went to Elsha, played Elsha for a long time. And then I went to Blue Farm, and I played Blue Farm for a good period of time. This is, early days. And then that's when I brewed Florian by accident. Just because someone told me it wouldn't be good, it would be bad, and I was like, no, I think it'll be good. So I brewed it as a challenge,
just to prove
and it turned out to be good enough. Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
so I did Florian, played Florian, and then of course, I went to Talion, and then Timna Jessica, and now TNT. So I've been around, and I'm ready to switch again whenever it makes sense. When the next deck comes along that I think is better for me to play. Let's not get crazy.
All right. You know what? Fair.
There are limits. There are limits to my willingness to try things. But having said that, I do have Kinnan proxied right over there. Right? Because like you said, you gotta play everything. You gotta play everything.
Order your decks, just order 1 billion so you can test it. I have like so many proxies of every card, so I can just build whatever deck I want. It's just I have so many proxies.
I literally have I have this. I'll show you. This is all proxies.
Nice.
So that I could build decks.
Yes.
And not so I could build just one deck, so I could build 10 decks if I want to. I could build anything I want.
That's the whole point. It's just so fun. You don't want to limit yourself. Just play what you want to play, and honestly, it just keeps it fresh. Even if you have a main deck, playing other decks makes it fun to still play your deck, because it doesn't get as old. You're like, okay, I played this other deck. Wow, I missed the power level of my main deck. Or this was crazy, right? Like, whatever it ends up being, like, it just switches it up.
Yeah, and you learn different concepts. You know how we were talking about, the ceiling of decks? Mm-hmm. Every deck has interesting angles of play that you don't learn. You don't even realize they exist until you've played the deck for a while, right? Because you run into these situations where you're like, whoa, wait a second. oh my God, this card does that with this. Oh my God, this situation, I just win the game in this situation. And you didn't have any idea that that was the case until you play the deck a bunch of times.
Yep.
So, you know, and then you learn those concepts in one deck. You're like, well, you know what? I wonder if I can try that in TNT. I'm going to try that in TNT. And it's good. Turns out it's good.
This is exactly what happened. So right after the bans, I played Shorkai. That was the deck I played. I was like, okay, I think at first I thought Roxai was going to be the best deck, and then it slowed down enough that it was not true. And so I ended up playing Shorkai for a while, and then I learned like, oh my God, we can abuse Rhystic Study this hard. And then I was like, wait, why don't I just do this in Kinnan? Like, I'm already using the clones in Shorkai, let's do this. And then the free interaction, pushing it further and further, ended up translating perfectly. Like, it was amazing, you know. But there's Azorius, Shorkai, and Kinnan. Those don't sound like the same decks at all, but I swear to God, like, the overlap was crazy. I learned so much in that deck, and I brought over so much that it was nuts. And it really, it changed how I play, for sure.
Oh, 100%. I did the same thing with Timna Jessica to TNT. Like, I'm like, what if it's really the same concept. Jessica's an outlet in the command zone. So Crassus is an outlet in the command zone, right? Timna gives you grind game. You know, put it in both decks. You do the same thing. Yeah. So the whole Delny action, all of those same concepts that was running in that Mardu deck, I'm now running in TNT. Like, those things transfer over, and that's how that's how these decks get crazy. Yep. Like, honestly.
That's how you keep improving. And honestly, like, one of the things that keeps my decks interesting to me is continuing to make changes. I will just sometimes I'm like, maybe I want to play another deck for a bit, and then I'll add one card, and I'm like, this is so cool, I need to play it, you know. And so continuously checking your deck keeps it really real, and that's something that is so fun to me. Optimization is such a blast to really learn. Hey, I could just brainstorm for ages, and then I could take this tech that I figured out, or this card that people weren't running, and I can take this to a tournament and win with it and prove that it's good or prove that it's bad, right? That happens a lot. But that's so fun. That's so fun.
Yeah. I think the other thing that people don't realize is how many elements there are that go into having a high win percentage and winning a lot of games. I think most, and it was a realization for me too. When you're first getting into this game, you're like, this card does this, and I need a lot of cards that do this in my deck. But then as you learn the game, you start piling these different elements of play on top. The politic game, understanding how to politic your opponents, and when you do that, when you get to that skill level, the card changes. Now you're looking at it does this, and I can angle politics with this card because of this other line of text here that I didn't even really care about before, right?
Right.
So, you add that political game on top. Now you're even better. Then you add threat assessment, and you look at the table and you're like, okay, this person is a threat. There's another third mode of text on this card now. I can use this to change the way that everyone assesses the threat at the table. I can make the other person the threat, or I can deal with him as a threat. You learn these different elements of play that all stack on top of each other that improve your win rate, right? So now you go from, if you build it like a pie, right? You start off with the basics. Is your deck any good, right? Your deck has to be good, because a good percentage of what goes into you having a good win rate is having a decent deck, having a good deck. But then you add on top of it your skill set in terms of understanding what the deck does. Then you add on understanding what everybody else's deck does. Then you have, on top of that, your ability to influence the table politically to change how everyone else plays their decks. Then you add good threat assessment. And all of these things all combine together with variance to equal what your win rate is, right? So just because one deck is, quote, the best, it's only a small part of the overall factor that goes into what your win rate is.
Yes. That's, can't emphasize that enough. That's so true. Yes. Yeah. And I think that that's what makes our format so interesting and cool, is that we have all these factors. We are not just looking at gameplay. The politics is such a big part of it. And again, just even without politics, the threat assessment, if you become a threat too early, and if your deck is too good, you might lose. Or you play your deck to the maximum potential. Sometimes you just and that's something that I think we're seeing with Rogsai is still a good deck, don't get me wrong, but Rogsai got demolished for a long time after the bans because it was a really good deck that people had to respect, and they did respect it. And then it was consistent at doing the thing. It would present early wins, turn 2, turn 3, sometimes turn 1, rarely, but it would present those early wins, but people were ready. And so they were always going to stop you. And so like the hard part is not jamming, right? Like, and I don't want to, this is always an important thing. I'm a big advocate of patience, but I don't think that you should, like, I think you should jam early when you can and when you should. Like, there's still, you need to evaluate your window, right? Don't play afraid, but like, if the signs are there that you're not getting through, don't do it. You're going to lose. You're going to throw the game. You're not even going to get a draw, right? If you wait, you'll win later. Or if it's your window, jam. Make them have it.
Yeah, I like it. I like saying it's like being on the highway, right? You're trying to get from point A to point B, and you're really in a race. But there's cops everywhere. So you can't just floor the accelerator and go 150 miles an hour because you'll get pulled over and you'll lose.
Cop will get you.
Oof. Yeah, I've got nightmares, but yeah, exactly. You will get blown out, right? So you can't just mash the accelerator and go full speed, but you also can't be the grandma in the right lane or in the left lane, even worse, going 30 miles an hour in a 65. Like you can't do that either. You will still lose the race. You have to figure out like, okay, when is my chance to go how fast? And I want to try to be as close to whatever the top speed I can get away with is at all times, right?
Yes.
But trying to figure out how to do that is, I mean, that's the game. That's the whole game right there.
It really is. And there's a lot of things you can do to improve that, but just playing games will like, that's how you learn it. There's a lot to learn there, just understanding if it's the right moment. And it's still a thing that people get wrong all the time at every level. Like, it's not something that's an exact science, because at the end of the day, you're trying to predict what's in opponent's hands to see if they can stop you, right? And you can't know unless you have x-ray glasses. So I think that if you glasses of Urza is what I should say. But, like, you're not always going to know your window. And that's, like that's something that you can always improve on.
I mean, this is all the core to cEDH, which is, what my tweet that got me into trouble on Twitter was all about. Is I basically just said, hey, you can get away with not playing Blue Farm. You don't have to play Blue Farm. Play something you enjoy, and you're going to gain a lot more in terms of win rate just by getting better.
Yeah,
putting in the work to get better. And like, you don't like. I remember like when I first got into cEDH, thinking like, I feel like I'm playing a different game than some players. Like I feel like I'm doing everything right, but I'm getting my ass kicked over and over and over again. I'm like, is it the deck? Like, am I just an idiot? Am I not equipped to play this game? Like, I don't understand what's going on. I feel like I'm doing everything correct. And then as you play and as you watch other people play, like, things click into place, and you see things in a way you just didn't see before that can only come from putting in the work.
Yes.
Of playing the game a lot. And it doesn't matter what deck you play it, you can't get away with not doing it.
Yeah, man. So I used to use a spreadsheet that I made, and that's where some of the inspiration for Play Nice came from. And I think I have like now 1,600 games logged on there, and I think that may be like oh god. I mean, I took a year break from logging everything, and even then I wouldn't I don't log all my games, right? Like, didn't log before, didn't log after, and now I just log tournaments. So like, there's a lot, like probably, upwards of 5,000 games played, I would imagine, right? And that's like so many hours. Like, you have to put in the time. And who knows? I'm not sure if that's right, but that's an estimate, right? Based on the stats I do have. And so, like, if you don't put in the time, you're not going to get good. Just like anything else in the world, that's just how it is. Practice is how you get better. Yeah, even like if you look at like Olympic athletes, and they're practicing all the time to get good. Like, they have skill, but they're practicing. That is how you get good.
Yeah, Rebel put out a video like a few weeks ago that I think everyone should watch, and it really talks about like expectations. I'll put it in the description.
You should,
so people can see it. But it just talks about like expectations coming into cEDH and expecting to win and expecting to spike tournaments, and just how unrealistic those expectations are at first, and sort of readjusting and calibrating your expectations. Because if you're new to this and you're just coming in, you're not going to just roll up there into a 200 person tournament and just win the whole thing. I mean, you might, it could happen. But you shouldn't expect that.
Expectations,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the other thing I like, I've kind of come to realize recently is like variation is king. So don't play with the same 3 people every single day.
Dude, that's so important. Play with people who are better than you. That is the key.
Yeah.
Like, and that's, and not to say that you have, you know, your longtime friend group that is your play group. That is, you know, you've moved up from high power to cEDH with. Like, don't lose them, right? But like, expand your horizons. Play with players who are better. That is a big way that I got better. Is I just found a bunch of people online. Spell Table makes it easy because you're not always going to have the best players available at your locals because it's just a smaller player pool, right? So find these players who are really good. Play with them. Jam games. Go to tournaments. Honestly, I mean, tournaments is the best practice. That is actually just the best practice. Like, play more tournaments, but you know, regardless, you have to get more practice than just that. And so finding a play group that is like, honestly, you should be the worst. Like, if you want good practice, you should be the worst player in your pod, like as much as you can.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know, shout out to the guys in the UK who I play with all the time. The other nice thing is people in different regions of the world play cEDH differently, and they come at it from different angles, and they have different perspectives on play. Seek that out. Like, play with people from different places. Play with people who do things completely different than you. Yeah, because you'll learn a lot. Like, I've learned more from those UK guys than anyone else. Just, you know, they come at it at a different angle. They're not losing games. They're going to make you work for it, and that you learn from that. That makes you better.
Yeah,
it really does.
Agreed.
So highly recommend it. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we beat the shit out of that dead horse at this point. I think hopefully everybody gets it.
We're good at talking. That's what cEDH players do.
Yeah.
For too long.
Some people better than others, but yeah. I try. I'm getting there. I'm learning.
Me too, man. I've been thinking about taking a public speaking course just to get better at, like, I feel like I'm good with people, but like, there's so much more to talking. I even just said likes and ums, man. Yeah. Oh god, there's so much more to learn.
Well, it's funny you say that. You know what I've done a couple times is when I make these videos, like, it's everyone has their filler word. Everyone has something that they say. Like, for me, it's I
was just gonna say that. No, mine is too. That is for sure mine. Oh, I mean, I have multiple because I'm a terrible public speaker, but I say all the time.
Yeah, you know, higher I have on all the time. His is like. He says like between everything. So what I've done a couple times is I make a video where I basically edit all of the ums, the uhs, the likes, and the knows, and it's just a video of that.
Yes.
And it's like 10 to 15 minutes long.
That's like a TikTok trend. Yeah, it's so funny.
It's hilarious.
Oh my
Absolutely
God.
Hilarious.
That's so good.
But yeah, it's funny you say you want to do more public speaking. That's what I do for like a living.
Oh, I didn't know
I go
that.
up on stage and like present technical stuff. That's what I do all the time.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice. It's so funny. Yeah. I think, you know, that's actually just like reminded me of such a cool thing about cEDH. This is like one of the few areas in life where you get to interact with people from like every background. Like every background. There's people just like with various careers, various like walks of life, just all kinds of people. And you're all just playing the same game. And the amount of like cool people I meet playing cEDH is crazy. It's so fun. And that's the thing I love about cEDH in tournaments. It's just so cool.
Oh, and from every single walk of life you can think of. You got artists, you got like singers, you got, doctors. It's insane.
Yes. Magic's
so
cool,
many cool
man.
people.
Magic's cool.
Yeah. So speaking of cEDH going forward, you think we're gonna have a circuit next year? What do you think is gonna happen?
Yes, I think we're gonna have multiple. I think that it's gonna be interesting for a while. I think the circuit is awesome. Like, circuits it's just been the coolest thing that we've had. Like, pretty much it's been like some of the peak tournament cEDH that we've reached. I really don't know exactly like where it's gonna go, and I honestly don't really want to speak on speculation too hard, just because of conversations I've had, and you know, I just kind of want to see where it goes. But I think that like we are in a really, really interesting spot. I think cEDH is going to keep growing regardless of what happens, but I think the circuit will help us grow a lot quicker. And the only worry I have is that there's going to be too many regionalized, localized circuits that compete with each other and diminish the value of each. Having one circuit, the first circuit, like Top Deck circuit, was just perfect. It was just easy because there was no one else competing, right? And, you know, it was well run. And that's something that we're going to just have to see where we go, right? If we end up having, ideally we have one just one or maybe two really well-run national circuits that a lot of people are on board with. And I know that just one good example is Land Go is doing a lot of really great work on that. So shout out to Wayne. He's been putting in the work. There's others too, but I have high hopes. I think it's going to be really interesting, but I just really hope we don't get into a spot where cEDH just kind of disintegrates into a bunch of different cliques of communities and regions and whatnot, and then don't come together.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen, but it is always a concern.
Yeah, the challenge is always like people like me. I got a wife and 3 kids. I can't travel every weekend to tournaments. I just can't do it. So I have to be very picky about which ones I go to and which ones I don't. And a big factor in that is, I want to be in the invitational. So I want to make sure that I'm picking
the right
tournament that has the ability to get me into the tournament.
You need to get those points
into later in the year. Right. So my fear is, like you said, if there's 4 circuits or 5 circuits or 6 circuits, then I have to...
And then the tournaments you want to go to are
which
part of
circuit
different
do I want to play in?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it gets tricky. But I mean, I'm hopeful. I think Wayne is kind of leading the charge.
Wayne's
other
great.
than Top Deck
I
at
love
this point.
Wayne.
And Wayne is fantastic. So if anyone can do it, it's Wayne. So I'm very hopeful that he is able to, lift us all up and bring us into a good circuit.
And there's some others that I know are working behind the scenes on some really cool ideas too. I don't know if I can speak to any of that yet, but I think that there's really, really driven and smart people who are working on this. We just have to see how everything plays out.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Hopefully good stuff. So before we end this today, you joined a new crew recently, didn't you? Like what's the story there?
I did. I joined MTG Basics in Denver, and we have been doing a lot of stuff. We have some really cool stuff coming. We've been working on getting some of our setups just higher quality and just working on some new ideas. So I've been really stoked. I have done obviously YouTube in the past. I've had my own channel. Did that for a while. It's really hard being a one-man crew, and it's and I'm a perfectionist. I'm an editor for a living. Like I do video and editing and photography for a living, and I don't want to put out something that is not edited a lot. And the issue with that is if I'm the only one doing it, I have to do all the time filming and editing, and it's just going to take me a lot of time to do it. And so the burnout is real. When I'm now like joining the crew, they're awesome. There's 2 other editors. I'm going to be like, I've already been doing some editing, but it makes it so that there's not that big pressure of like, I'm the only one working on this and I have to spend so much time. I can spend the time to perfect the things that I actually want to do. And that's really exciting to me. And also the crew is just so cool. They're just like the best people. That's like really why I joined. Jonah and Joseph especially have been friends of mine for a long time, and joining with Raul, he's just like the nicest. He's the founder of the channel. And he's just the nicest guy like ever. He's so cool. So anyways, sorry for the long explanation, but I'm stoked to be on the team. They're like, we're doing some cool stuff that I'm really excited for.
Yeah, so check the description below. I'll put links to
Appreciate
MTG
you.
Basics so you can check them out, because they're definitely worth checking out. So, man, Evan, thanks for joining me. This was a timely conversation.
Yes.
And hopefully everybody can take something from it, and you don't have to play Blue Farm. You don't play a bad deck, but you don't have to play Blue Farm.
Yes.
So, no. Unless you want to. Then you can.
And don't forget to touch grass. I'm going to go camping this weekend and turn off Twitter, and it's going to be great.
I envy you.
No service, no problem, right?
Nice. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Please please subscribe. Check me out on Discord. Like I said before, if you join Patreon now, you get admission into the Critical EDH League, which is a bumpin' league on Discord. Check out MTG Basics. Check out Waffle. And talk to you guys next time.
Appreciate it, Max.
Peace.